Commander Tahoe Park stood at the observatory window, his face illuminated by the soft blue glow from the massive alien ships hovering above Earth. They had appeared 3 days ago without warning. No radio contact, no signals, just silent, intimidating presence. Today, they had finally spoken. "Sir, they're broadcasting again," said Lieutenant Jin, her voice tight with tension. Tahoe nodded. On the main screen appeared a blue-skinned being with 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern. It called itself Kel, ambassador of the Galactic Council. "People of Earth," Kel said, its voice translated through computers. "The Council has reviewed your planet. You are invited to join our Federation as a Category 4 civilization." Director Kim entered the room, her face grim. "Category 4 means technological restrictions. They want us to abandon space exploration and limit our energy production." Tahoe frowned. "Why would we agree to that?" "Because the alternative is worse," Kim replied. The world leaders gathered virtually within hours. Representatives from 193 nations listened as Kel outlined the terms. Earth would receive protection and limited trade rights. In exchange, humans would dismantle their nuclear arsenals, space programs, and advanced AI research. President Han of the United World Coalition spoke for humanity. "We appreciate the invitation, but these terms are unacceptable. Humans will not surrender our technological development rights." Kel's 6 eyes blinked slowly. "This is not a negotiation." "Everything is a negotiation," President Han replied. "We propose alternative terms. Earth will limit military expansion beyond our solar system in exchange for full development rights within it." The blue alien skin darkened. "The Council has spoken. You will comply." The transmission ended abruptly. Tahoe felt a chill. What now? Director Kim's phone buzzed. She looked down, and her face went pale. "They're moving." On the observatory screens, the alien ships shifted positions, spreading out over major cities worldwide. "Get me the president," Tahoe ordered. Before the call connected, the sky flashed with blinding light. The observatory shook. Alarms blared. "Seoul is under attack," shouted an operator. "New York and London, too." The screens showed beams of energy slicing through buildings. Skyscrapers collapsed. Fires spread. The destruction was precise, targeting government centers, military bases, and power plants. Tahoe watched in horror as his home city burned. The aliens had not bothered with warning shots. This was a show of power. 3 hours later, in an emergency bunker beneath the mountains, world leaders assessed the damage. Millions dead. Major cities in ruins. Earth's most powerful weapons had proven useless against the alien shields. President Han slammed her fist on the table. "We will not bow to terrorists, even interstellar ones." Russian President Orlova nodded. "For the first time in a century, Russia stands with America and China without reservation." Chinese Premier Wei spoke firmly. "We must pool all resources. Every scientist, every factory, every soldier now works for Earth, not individual nations." The room fell silent when General Li, blood still staining his uniform, entered. He had barely escaped the Pentagon attack. "The aliens have withdrawn to high orbit," he reported. "They're waiting for our surrender." "Which they will never receive," President Han declared. "We need a plan." Tahoe stepped forward. 3 alien craft were damaged in the attack. One crashed in the Gobi Desert, another in Brazil, the third in Canada. "We need those ships." Director Kim nodded. "If we can understand their technology, maybe we can find a weakness." President Han gave the order. "Every resource goes to this effort. We have one chance." Within days, the world transformed. Ancient enemies shared intelligence. Corporations opened their secret research. Scientists worked around the clock. At the crash site in the Gobi Desert, Tahoe led the recovery team. The alien ship was surprisingly intact. As they approached, he felt a strange tingling in his head. "Sir, are you feeling that?" asked Surgeon Yoon. Tai-ho nodded. Some kind of field effect. Inside the ship, they found 2 dead aliens and technology beyond human understanding. Most surprising was the control system. No buttons or screens, just smooth surfaces that responded to thought. When Tai-ho accidentally touched one panel, it lit up. The tingling in his head became a flood of information. "Get the science team," he ordered. "There's something happening with the neural interface." Tests showed the alien technology responded more strongly to human brains than expected. Something about human neural patterns made them unusually compatible with the alien systems. On the 7th day after the attack, Kel broadcast again. "Your resistance is pointless. Submit to Council authority or face extinction." In the bunker war room, General Lee watched the message replay. Around him, leaders debated surrender terms. "If they wanted to kill us all, they could have done it already," someone said. Lee turned to Tai-ho. "What did you learn from the ship?" "Their weapons are powerful, but their tactics are rigid," Tai-ho replied. "They attack by the book, and their book doesn't include humans." General Lee nodded, a small smile forming. "They think they know war." He looked at the burning cities on the screen. "If they want war, they'll learn what humans do best." The room fell silent as Lee stood to address the world leaders. "We do not surrender. We plan. We adapt. We hit back." He pointed to Tai-ho. "Commander Park has found our first advantage. Now we find more." President Han studied the faces around her, then nodded. "So be it. Earth goes to war." Dr. Jum Kim's eyes burned from lack of sleep. For the 3rd straight day, he had refused to leave the underground laboratory where the recovered alien ship components were stored. His assistant had finally given up trying to make him go home. "Just one more test," Jum mumbled to himself, placing his hand on the smooth alien control panel. The device hummed to life, glowing with soft blue light. Information flooded his mind, not as words, but as concepts and images. He could feel the machine thinking, and it could feel him. "Amazing," he whispered. The door opened, and Commander Tai-ho entered. "Any progress?" Jum looked up, his face bright despite his exhaustion. "Their systems interface directly with neural networks, and somehow our brains are more compatible than theirs." "How is that possible?" Tai-ho asked, approaching the alien device. "The aliens evolved with shared consciousness. Their technology is built for minds that naturally connect. But we humans evolved as individuals with strong mental barriers. When we connect to their tech, we create stronger, clearer signals." Jum smiled. "It's like they built radios for whispers, but we shout." Tai-ho placed his hand on the panel. The glow intensified. "So we can use their weapons against them. Better, we can improve them." 3 months after the attack, research teams around the world shared findings through a new global network. Chinese physicists decoded the alien power systems. Indian engineers mastered their hull materials. Brazilian scientists cracked their communication codes. In an abandoned mine in Finland, the first human-made alien engine roared to life. In Japan, prototype weapons fired with unexpected power. In Egypt, shield technology proved stronger than the original alien design. Dr. Jun led the neural interface team, testing thousands of volunteers to find the most compatible human minds. Military pilots, video gamers, and meditation experts showed the strongest connections. 6 months after the attack, at a hidden facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain Sun Mi Kang stood on the bridge of Phoenix 1, Earth's first reverse-engineered spacecraft. Around her, a crew of 20, the best minds and strongest neural interfaces on the planet, prepared for their first mission. General Lee addressed them through the view screen. "The Council believes we are still licking our wounds. They have a small patrol fleet orbiting Mars, watching for any sign of our space program restarting." Sun Mi nodded. "How many ships?" 5. General Lee's face was grim. "Each one could destroy a city." "And we have 3 small vessels," Sun Mi said, looking around at her nervous crew. "But they don't know we're coming." and they don't know what we can do. Later, as Phoenix One rose from the ocean into the night sky, Sunmi felt the familiar tingle of the neural interface. Unlike traditional controls, the ship responded to her thoughts, almost like an extension of her body. Neural sync at 90%, reported Navigator Park, his eyes closed in concentration. They expect us to cower for decades, Sunmi said, feeling the ship accelerate beyond anything humans had built before. Let's show them what rapid adaptation really means. The journey to Mars took only days. The 3 Earth ships, Phoenix 1, 2, and 3, stayed dark, using the red planet for cover. The alien patrol vessels orbited with casual confidence, their sensors pointed outward toward deep space, not expecting threats from the supposedly broken Earth. Sunmi linked with her crew, their minds connecting through the ship's systems. She could feel their fear, their determination, their readiness. "Remember your training," she said. "They fight by rules. We don't. They expect certain responses. We won't give them." The battle lasted less than an hour. The Earth ships attacked from multiple angles, using the alien technology in ways its creators never imagined. While alien shields were designed to block direct energy attacks, the humans fired at angles, creating wreckage patterns that slipped through defensive gaps. When 2 alien ships turned to face Phoenix One, Sunmi didn't retreat as alien doctrine demanded. Instead, she accelerated directly toward them, slipping between their firing arcs and launching mines that attached to both vessels before detonating. The final alien ship attempted to escape, to warn the Council. Phoenix 3 matched its course, its human crew pushing the neural interface beyond safety limits. Their minds merged with the ship so completely that they moved with impossible precision, predicting and countering every alien maneuver. Not one Earth ship was lost. All 5 alien vessels were destroyed. When the battle ended, Sunmi allowed herself a moment of pride before opening the channel to Earth. Phoenix One to command. Mars orbit secured, returning with captured technology and data. The crews celebrated their victory, but Sunmi remained silent, watching the stars. This was just the beginning. On the Council homeworld, 40 light-years away, Admiral Vex reviewed the footage with disbelief. The Mars patrol fleet had managed to transmit battle data before being destroyed. "Impossible," he muttered, watching humans use Council technology with unexpected skill. "No species has ever developed countermeasures this quickly. These tactics, they're using our own systems in ways we never considered." His aide, a younger officer named Lur, studied the data with growing concern. "They're not fighting according to any known doctrine. They're fighting like cornered animals," Vex said. Lur hesitated before speaking. "Perhaps," he suggested quietly, "we have made a miscalculation." Admiral Vex turned away from the screen. "Prepare the main fleet. We will crush this rebellion before it spreads." "Admiral," Lur said, "should we consider negotiation? The Council has never encountered a species that—" "The Council does not negotiate with primitives," Vex snapped. "We teach them their place." As the Admiral left, Lur remained, replaying the battle footage. Something about these humans disturbed him. They had done in months what should have taken decades, and they were just getting started. Admiral Vex stood on the command bridge of the Galactic Council's flagship, the Righteous Fist. Around him, the largest war fleet assembled in 50 years prepared to enter the Sol system. 1,000 warships, each capable of destroying a small moon. "Status report," Vex demanded. "All ships in formation," his second-in-command replied. "We will reach Jupiter orbit in 20 minutes." Vex nodded, satisfied. The human problem would end today. When the Mars patrol had been destroyed a year ago, the Council had been shocked. But they had studied the battle recordings and adapted their tactics. This time, they were prepared for the humans' tricks. "We will offer them one chance to surrender," Vex said, more for ceremony than mercy. "Then we will cleanse their planet of this infection." The Council fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel near Jupiter's orbit. The gas giant loomed large in their view screens, its swirling colors a backdrop for what Vex expected to be a brief battle. Intelligence suggested the humans had perhaps a dozen ships, hiding somewhere in the asteroid belt. "Scan for human vessels," Vex ordered. The sensor officer frowned. "Sir, I'm detecting multiple signals. Many signals. How many?" The officer looked up, his face pale. 300, sir. Possibly more." Vex rushed to the display. That was impossible. Humans couldn't have built so many ships so quickly. Yet there they were, a massive fleet of human vessels, their designs clearly based on Council technology, but modified in ways he didn't recognize. "They're hailing us," the communications officer announced. The main screen displayed a human male in a dark uniform. His face showed no fear, only cold determination. "This is Fleet Commander Du Hyun of Earth Defense," the human said. "Your bombardment of our homeworld constitutes a war crime under any reasonable system of law. Surrender or be destroyed." Vex laughed, though unease crept into his voice. "You dare to threaten the Council fleet? Your primitive copies of our technology cannot stand against us." Do Hyun's expression didn't change. "You have 5 minutes to power down your weapons. After that, we will consider your silence as refusal." Vex cut the transmission. "Prepare all ships for battle. Target their largest vessels first." The 5 minutes passed in tense silence. Then, exactly as promised, the human fleet moved, but not as expected. Instead of a direct confrontation, the Earth ships split into smaller groups, moving in patterns that made no tactical sense to Vex's trained eye. "Open fire," he ordered. The Council warships launched their attack. Space lit up with energy beams and plasma torpedoes. But the human vessels moved with impossible agility, their neural-linked crews reacting faster than the Council's computer systems could predict. And then the humans fired back. Their weapons weren't just copies of Council technology. They were improvements. Beams that should have been blocked by Council shields somehow phased through at odd angles. Torpedoes split into multiple warheads just before impact. And when Council ships concentrated their fire on one human vessel, its neighboring ships would extend their shields to protect it. After the first hour, Vex realized they were fighting a different kind of enemy than the Council had ever faced. "Sir, we've lost 200 ships," his tactical officer reported, voice shaking. "Impossible." Vex slammed his fist on the console. "Regroup the fleet. Focus all fire on their command ship." But the humans had no single command ship. Each vessel operated both independently and as part of a greater whole, adapting to Council tactics faster than Vex could issue new orders. By the third hour, half the Council fleet was destroyed or disabled. What remained was badly damaged and in disarray. "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "we should retreat. We can return with reinforcements." Vex wanted to refuse, but the battle was clearly lost. "Sound the retreat," he ordered, his voice hollow. As the remaining Council ships fled, Du Hyun's message followed them. "Tell your leaders that Earth stands ready to discuss peace, but only as equals." The news of the Council fleet's defeat spread quickly. On distant worlds that had suffered under Council rule for centuries, hope began to stir. On the planet Nara, a world of blue oceans and silver forests, the native population had been reduced to servitude generations ago. The Council peacekeepers maintained order through fear and superior weapons. The Naran resistance had fought for decades without success, but now their hidden leaders watched Council troops becoming increasingly nervous. Something had changed. Then, one morning, strange ships appeared in Nara's sky. Not Council design, but something new. The Council peacekeepers prepared for battle, expecting rebels from another system. Instead, human vessels landed in the main city square. Armed soldiers emerged, led by Captain Sunmai, her confidence evident as she approached the Council commander. "By authority of the Earth Defense Force, we are here to liberate Nara. she announced. Your forces will lay down their weapons and prepare for transport off-world. The council commander laughed. You have no authority here, human. Sunma smiled slightly. We just destroyed half your fleet at Jupiter. Would you like to test our resolve here as well? Behind her, more human ships landed. The council troops looked to their commander, who suddenly seemed less certain. 3 days later, the last council ship left Nera. The native population celebrated in streets that had been silent for generations. Many approached the humans with gifts and tears of gratitude. An elder Neran leader, her skin the color of twilight, took Sunma's hands in her own. We heard stories that humans were violent savages. The council told us this. We can be, Sunma admitted, but mostly we hate bullies. As similar scenes played out across a dozen worlds, the council's supreme leader faced a crisis. For the first time in living memory, the council's authority was being challenged, and they were losing. The supreme leader issued a galaxy-wide announcement. A ceasefire is hereby ordered. The humans have proven worthy adversaries. We invite their leaders to discuss terms. On Earth, the World Council gathered to consider this offer. General Li and Commander Du Hyun recommended caution. They're buying time to rebuild their fleet, Du Hyun warned. President Han nodded. Then we'll use that time too. Earth's response was broadcast on all frequencies, a simple message that sent shivers through the council worlds. We're just getting warmed up. Diplomat. Jiwoo adjusted her translator device as she entered the meeting chamber on Neutral Station, a trading post at the edge of council space. 6 months had passed since Earth had forced the council into a ceasefire. 6 months of planning, of reaching out to other species who might share their desire for freedom. The room fell silent as she walked in. 7 representatives from different worlds waited around a curved table. None looked human. One was a floating ball of gas contained in a mechanical shell. Another had 4 arms and skin like tree bark. A third glowed with inner light, its crystalline body casting rainbow patterns on the walls. Jaewoo bowed slightly. Thank you for coming despite the risks. I am Diplomat Jiwoo of Earth. The tree-like being spoke first. I am Kron of the Voslin. We have traveled far to hear what humans offer. And I am nervous about council spies, said a small red-furred creature. If they discover this meeting, our worlds will suffer. Jaewoo nodded. The council maintains power through fear and isolation. They told each of you that you were alone in your desire for freedom. They told you resistance was pointless. She activated a hologram showing Earth's battle against the council fleet at Jupiter. They told us the same thing, she continued. They were wrong. The crystalline being, a tailor, moved forward. Its voice sounded like chimes. We watched recordings of your victories. The council cannot suppress such news. But what do you want from us? To replace one master with another? Jaewoo smiled. Earth offers alliance, not domination. Unlike the council, we believe in self-determination. Each world should govern itself, while standing together against threats. The Taylor representative glimmered with hope, light patterns swirling faster across its surface. For 3 millennia we have awaited such words. Words are easy, said the gas being. What do you offer besides words? Jaewoo pressed a button on her wrist device. The door opened, and human soldiers entered carrying crates. Technology, training, protection. She gestured to the crates. These contain neural interface systems for your ships. They will make your vessels faster, more responsive. We also offer weapons that can penetrate council shields. The representatives murmured among themselves. And what do you ask in return? Kron of the Voslin asked. Stand with us. Share your knowledge. Fight, if necessary. Jiwoo looked at each representative. The council has ruled through division. We will win through unity. By the end of the meeting, all 7 species had joined what would become known as the Human Coalition. Each representative returned to their world with technology, plans, and something they hadn't possessed in generations: hope. Within weeks, the alliance grew. Species that had never dared resist now found courage in Earth's example. The Council tried to stop the spread by blocking communications and increasing their military presence, but their efforts came too late. On the water world of Marin, Council rule had been particularly harsh. The native Marins, amphibious beings with 6 limbs and iridescent scales, had been forced to mine their sacred coral reefs for rare minerals. Those who resisted disappeared. Captain Hyun led the fleet that arrived to liberate the Marin homeworld. Unlike earlier battles, this one was brief. Many Council soldiers, hearing of previous defeats, surrendered rather than fight. After the liberation, the Marin leader, an elder female named Sel, invited Hyun to their sacred underwater chamber. Few non-Marins had ever seen this place. The Council claimed humans were savages, Sel told him, her voice translated through the water by Hyun's advanced diving suit. They said you would destroy yourselves before reaching the stars. They feared your freedom might be contagious. Hyun watched young Marins swim freely through coral formations that glowed with bioluminescent light. Freedom is always contagious, he replied. That's why the Council tried to keep species isolated. Together, we're stronger than they ever imagined. Sel gestured to ancient carvings on the chamber walls. Our ancestors predicted outsiders would come, some to harm, others to help. Perhaps they saw your coming. As Hyun left Marin, his ships were joined by 20 Marin vessels, their crews eager to help liberate other worlds. The Council, desperate to stop the growing rebellion, gathered their remaining forces for a final, massive assault. Their target was the mineral-rich Orion system, recently claimed by coalition forces. Admiral Vex, still bitter from his defeat at Jupiter, commanded the largest armada ever assembled, 2,000 warships drawn from every corner of Council space. This time, we will not offer mercy, he told his officers. The coalition dies here. The coalition knew they were coming. Captain Sunma, now a fleet commander, stood on her bridge alongside officers from 12 different species. Their fleet was smaller, only 800 ships, but each vessel was crewed by neural-linked teams who fought with coordination the Council couldn't match. They expect us to defend, Sunmai said during the battle briefing. Instead, we attack. When the Council fleet arrived at Orion's belt, they formed a traditional battle line, preparing to advance methodically. Before they could complete their formation, coalition ships struck from multiple vectors, fighting in pairs and trios that confused Council targeting systems. The battle lasted 2 days. Council ships fought with desperate fury, but coalition vessels protected each other, different species working together with a unity the Council had never imagined possible. Admiral Vex died when his flagship was boarded by a joint team of humans and Voslin warriors. His last order, to unleash banned planet killer weapons, was never carried out. His officers, seeing the coalition's measured approach to captured vessels, chose surrender over mutual destruction. When the battle ended, the Council had lost over 60% of their remaining military strength. The coalition had suffered losses too, but their alliance had grown stronger through shared sacrifice. On Earth, news of the victory at Orion's belt triggered worldwide celebrations. President Han addressed the planet from the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in New York. Today marks not just a military victory, but a philosophical one, she said. The galaxy is witnessing a new order based on cooperation rather than subjugation. In Council space, their supreme leader faced rebellion even from longtime loyal species. The galactic balance of power had irrevocably shifted, and it had all happened in just 2 years since the Council's first fateful attack on Earth. The grand meeting hall on Neutral Station hummed with tension. After 3 years of war, representatives from Earth and the Galactic Council sat across from each other at last. Ambassador Minho of Earth maintained a calm expression, but his hands trembled slightly. Just 3 years ago, he had been a history professor. Now he represented humanity in the most important negotiation in Earth's history. Across the table sat Kel, the same blue-skinned, six-eyed diplomat who had delivered the Council's ultimatum before the devastating first attack. Kel looked thinner now, less confident. "The Council offers peace," Kel said, sliding a document across the table. "We recognize Earth and its coalition as an independent power." Minho took his time reading the terms. The document acknowledged the Council's regrettable actions against Earth and offered substantial reparations. Earth would be permitted to maintain its current territory, which now included 30 former Council worlds. Trade routes would be established. The war would end. Ambassador Minho studied the document. "These reparations acknowledge your crimes, but not the system that enabled them." Kel's eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of frustration. "What more could you want? You've won." "Not yet," Minho replied calmly. "We want structural change. A new galactic constitution where all species have equal representation." "Impossible." Kel stood up. "The Council has maintained order for 10,000 years." Minho remained seated. "And in those 10,000 years, how many species have suffered as we did? How many were bombed for daring to ask questions? How many were kept as servants, denied technology, exploited for resources?" Behind Minho, representatives from dozens of coalition species watched silently. "The old system is broken," Minho continued. "Either we create a new one together, or the coalition will continue to grow until the Council becomes irrelevant." Kel sat down slowly. "The Supreme Leader will never agree." Ji Woo, now Earth's chief diplomat, stepped forward. "Perhaps your people should consider new leadership." 2 weeks later, the Council's Supreme Leader was removed by his own advisory board. The new leadership, younger and more moderate, requested fresh negotiations. For 6 months, diplomats from both sides worked to draft a framework for coexistence. The humans proposed a system based on Earth's United Nations, but improved to address its historical weaknesses. 1 solar year after the peace talks began, representatives from 200 worlds gathered on neutral territory. The new Galactic Alliance Charter was signed with great ceremony. It bore unmistakable hallmarks of Earth political philosophy: equal representation, protected rights for all sentient beings, and a common defense agreement that would prevent future aggression. President Han, now in her 2nd term, addressed the gathering. "Today we turn enemies into partners, not through conquest, but through shared values. The stars need not be a battlefield. They can be a commons where all may prosper." After the ceremony, Dr. Jum Kim wandered through the station, marveling at the diversity of beings around him. The neural interface technology he had helped develop was now being adapted for peaceful purposes, allowing different species to communicate without translators, to share art and music across biological barriers. "Dr. Kim," called a familiar voice. Commander Tahoe approached, accompanied by a tall, insect-like being. "May I introduce Ambassador Krell of the Krell Dominion? He wishes to meet you." The Krell had been among the Council's fiercest warriors. Their ships had caused heavy coalition casualties in several battles. "Your neural technology defeated our best tactics," the Krell ambassador said, his mandibles clicking. "But now I find myself curious about its potential for cultural exchange." June nodded. "We're developing a system that would allow Krell art, which I understand is based on pheromones, to be experienced by humans." The Krell's compound eyes gleamed with interest. "Fascinating. Perhaps I could visit your laboratory." Later, at the diplomatic reception, Ambassador Krell spoke with Commander Tahoe. "We feared you because you fought ferociously. We respect you because you create peace just as passionately." Tahoe nodded. "Humans have always been good at both." "The Council told us humans were dangerous," Krell said. "They were right, but not in the way they meant." Meanwhile, on Earth, civilians watched the proceedings on global broadcasts. In Seoul, a small memorial marked the site where the first alien bombs had fallen. Children placed flowers beneath the names of the millions who had died. Captain Sun Me, visiting her hometown for the first time since the war began, stood silently at the memorial. A young girl approached her. "Are you a space captain?" the girl asked, eyes wide. Sun Me nodded. Yes, I am. I want to be a captain too. But my mother says there won't be any more fighting. If we've done our job right, Sunmai said, you'll captain ships of exploration, not war. Across the galaxy, former council worlds adjusted to new freedom. Some joined the coalition. Others remained independent. A few even maintained ties with the reformed council, which continued to exist as one power among many. On Nera, the blue ocean world, Viceroy Cell invited human scientists to study the sacred coral reefs, studies that revealed medical compounds that would eventually cure diseases on a dozen worlds. On Taylor, the crystalline beings shared their music, complex patterns of light and sound, with human artists, creating a new art form that spread across coalition space. And on the former council homeworld, schools began teaching a new history, one that acknowledged past mistakes and looked toward a different future. 5 years after the day alien ships first appeared above Earth, humanity had proven itself not merely capable of surviving in the cosmos, but of transforming it for the better. When asked if he was proud of what humanity had accomplished, President Han's successor, a former general named Lee, thought for a moment. "We did what humans always do," he said finally. "We adapted. We fought when necessary. We built when possible. The galaxy needed change, and we were simply the catalyst." He looked up at the stars, now filled with possibility rather than threat. "The real work," he added quietly, "is just beginning. The end